This is a vlog. You can probably tell I know exactly what I'm doing based on the fact that I put the really bright light right behind me and that I put on deodorant for this for some reason. Anyway, a lot of you have asked me for rig update and room tour. And this is going to be both of those in the least professional way possible. I have not done vlogging before. I don't know how to make it interesting. I'm in general not an interesting person. The funny things you see on my videos are things that I've put a lot of thought into ahead of time. I'm not that clever, and I'm not all that smart. So this is not going to be what you'd expect, probably. It is also 7 in the morning, past 7 in the morning. So don't expect me to know what I'm talking about or know how to aim a camera, apparently. So I guess we'll just start with the room tour. The reason the room tour has taken me such a long time is because I am a slob. And this is after I cleaned, believe it or not. So typically speaking, I guess that's good because that means I'm being kept busy and there's lots of stuff for me to do, therefore not enough time for me to clean. At the same time, it's not something I can show off. Or not something I'd like to show off, you know what I mean. Anyway, so this is my tower. It is the Corsair 570X Crystal Series RGB case, and it's RGB because apparently it comes with 3 SP120 RGB fans. I've replaced those with HD 120 fans because I think they look better in this case. It's got 8 RGB fans and 4 LED strips. One on that side, one on the inside of here that's lighting this up in pink. The one up top is in back, I think. I can't remember where I put it. And then there's one on the very bottom for some underglow. It's also very dusty there. I didn't clean that. I probably should have. That means I'm using the Commander Pro and a Lighting Node Pro. And people have asked me if you can get the Kraken X62 to connect to the Commander since it also acts as a USB splitter. And you can, because it's working right there. How cool is that? So the Kraken X62 cooler is cooling my i7-7700K, my poor baby. And I call it my poor baby because it's only clocked to 5.0 gigahertz, and, well, I say only, but it's a 5 gigahertz clock, but it's at a very aggressive 1.42 volts, so it's kind of sad sometimes. If you're curious about temperatures, there you go. It idles anywhere in the mid to high 40s, and under load, it doesn't typically pass 80, so I'm not overly concerned, but still. Well, the cooler itself is mounted, it's a 280mm radiator, but it's mounted against 3 120 RGB fans. The way that's done, people have asked me how I did this too. It's basically just using long threaded screws to connect to the bracket on the case and just kind of pass, not go through, but pass the 120 fans and then just into the radiator. It's nothing fancy, but it's not typically normal, I guess. So that's how I did that. And then I've got 32 gigabytes of G.Skill Trident Z RGB RAM clocked at 3733 megahertz, and those are sitting on the Asus Maximus 9 Hero motherboard. Then I've got 2 GTX 1080 Ti cards in SLI. They're the Gigabyte Aorus Extreme cards. There we go. And they run hot. Well, not they. The top one runs hot. The top one idles at about 60. So that's pretty toasty. And the fan is, I don't know if you can hear it, but it's a pretty, there, 2300, almost 2400 RPM on that fan. So you can infer from that means I'm going to either drop a card, which is what the lame boring person would do, or I'm going to custom water cool something potentially soon. I don't know yet. It depends on whether or not I can get the parts for less than the cost of a kidney and a testicle, but we'll see. I don't know how soon it'll be, but I do plan on doing it in the future. That is a custom SLI bridge. I replaced the Corsair one because I've got Corsair logos here now ever since switching the case. And then these panels are acrylic pieces that I cut and painted, and I didn't really have an idea for a design, but I ended up going with this because I just looked up something random online, and this is actually a circuit tree. It was a tree that looks like a circuit, so it's circuitry. Ha! Anyway, storage. There is a 960 Evo drive sandwiched between my graphics cards, and I did check temperatures. It doesn't look too bad, so I'm not overly concerned about it. The 960 Evo is my boot drive, and then there's a 950 Pro back there, and that is the drive I put all my projects on. And then on the other side of the computer, I've got 2 500 gig Samsung drives, Samsung Evos, somewhere there. It's going to be hard to see because this part is not lit at all. And then there's a 6 terabyte archive drive there, and then there's another 120 gigabyte SSD down there. And that's my Adobe Cache drive. After that, I think that covers the entirety of the computer. Oh, power supply. Power supply is a 1000 watt EVGA Supernova. So it does what it does, I guess. It's good enough for me. If you're curious about power draw, just a little sneak peek of the gigabyte cards, it's less than 800 under load for the full system. But it gets pretty close, so be careful if you decide to SLI these. The reason it's taking me so long to get a video on these cards out is because every time I run benchmarks and then stop because there's a lot of benchmarks I run, there's a new driver release, and then I have to redo all the benchmarks just for the sake of consistency. So at one point in time, I'm going to do all these benchmarks in a single day, and then I have to actually swap my 980 Ti back in to run the comparison tests. But yeah, that's why that's taking so long. I'm going to work on it, I promise. It's just I just haven't done it yet. This is my camera. This is my Panasonic Lumix GH4. It's got the Metabone Speed Booster adapter on it, and that's a Sigma 18 to 35 f1.8 lens. So that's my main camera. I recently started using the 12 millimeter Rokinon lens. This is an f2.8. This is an f2.8 lens. There we go. Words are hard. I picked that up not more than a few days ago, so it's not something I've been using a lot yet, but I'm going to sooner or later. As for other stuff on the desk, batteries and battery chargers, Audio Engine A2 Plus speakers, Asus ZenWatch 2, Samsung Note 4 because I'm way behind on the times on phones apparently. Big cup of water because I like water. That's my Amazon Dot, and then my audio stuff. That is a DBX 286S preamp processor, and I don't do that much with it. I boost the gain a bit so I don't have to do it in post. Then I do a little bit of compression so I don't have to do it in post. And then I do a little bit of high-end frequency boosting, and that's kind of it. I don't really bass boost because my voice comes out kind of bassy with the microphones I use anyway, so I don't really see a need to. And then that is my Scarlett Solo, because the processor goes to the Scarlett Solo and that goes to the computer, so that's how that works. My voiceover microphone is the Audio-Technica AT2020. This is also the microphone I use for Discord and Skype. When I'm doing my A-roll, I use the microphone that's way over here. This is the Audio-Technica AT875R. It's a shotgun mic, and it sounds nice, although it's really sensitive, so if you buy that, keep that in mind. And then the last microphone I use is the Shure SM7B right here. And this is like the microphone I would be using for ad spots if I had any. And this is what I used to use for gameplay stuff, but the gameplay things kind of didn't take off as fast as I expected, or hoped rather. So it's not super in use right now, but maybe eventually. Monitors. This is the 28-inch Asus 4K panel. And then off to either side are 27-inch Acer panels, 1080p. And then this is another 27-inch panel, but this one's Asus, and it's also 1080p. On the desk, that is my Corsair K95 RGB Platinum. It's my favorite keyboard so far. I can't find anything I like better than it, so that's what I'm using. Then this mouse is something I'm currently reviewing. It's from Utech Smart. I think it's called the Venus. They want me to release the video before July 10th, or on or before July 10th. Apparently Prime Day is coming up sometime around there, so that's why they want that out soon. So you can expect that at some point in time. And then this is the Logitech G502. And this is swapped with the Corsair Glaive frequently, because I can't figure out which one I like more. So, and they both cover some things that I like and both cover some things that the other doesn't, so it's hard to pick. And then I guess the last thing on top of the desk would be the mouse pad, which is the Corsair MM800 Polaris, and this is the hard mat version. They released a soft version like not more than 2 days ago, and I'm kind of upset because I would have preferred that to this, but now I can't really justify spending another $60 on a mouse pad that is almost the same that I already own, so maybe one day when I feel like splurging, but not that day is not today. And then this is actually the little camcorder I used to use for gameplay stuff, and it's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. So there's that. I also lost the charger, so I can't use it right now. Here are a couple of things that are going in videos that I'm not going to talk about yet because I'll save them for later. And energy drinks. I can't make it throughout my day without at least 1 or 2 energy drinks. These are Logitech speakers that are only connected to my Amazon Dot. And that's because when my computer is not functioning for whatever reason, like I'm doing upgrades or whatever, I run my music through that Amazon cloud service and it comes through the speakers. Speaking of audio stuff, this is my FiO E07K DAC, and it is good enough for me. Right now, it drives my Bear Dynamic DT770 Pro headphones and my V-Moto Crossfade LP headphones. And then I've got this headphone hanger that's literally just here to hang up the cable because the cable is heavy. Yeah, that's a dumb reason, but that's all I got. Back here we have a tower of cases that I'm saving for builds that I may or may not do in the hopefully near or distant future. That's my softbox that I use for some B-roll. And then this is an LED light from Newer. It's got 160 LEDs. It came in a 2-pack. The other one is up there. So it can be removed from the stand, which makes it nice and easy to move, and it's battery powered, so no cables to hinder me. And the stand is there if I need it. So yeah, that's neat. Oh, the desk itself is from Autonomous. It's a standing desk. So, bam, check that out. Look at that. Wee. I was sitting. I have it in sitting position when I record stuff, so it doesn't make me look so goddamn short. But when I'm playing games or if I'm typing up scripts, then this goes in standing mode. So there's that. And this thing is probably shame, I guess. It's a 70-inch Samsung TV, and I bought it because my girlfriend dumped me towards the end of last year, and this was the money that was going into her anniversary gift. So instead of that, I bought myself a 70-inch TV and a PlayStation 4 Pro. So that is what I get for getting dumped. Actually, when I put it like that, it doesn't sound so bad. I should get dumped more often. Anyway, stuff on the desk are more projects coming up, and this is all your fault. I've done videos on the AMZtronics budget RGB fans, I've done videos on the NZXT Air RGB fans, and I've done videos on Corsair's HD 120/140 RGB fans, and everyone's like, well, what about the Thermaltake ones? And I'm sitting here going, I don't need the Thermaltake ones, and well, now I have them because people asked, so that's coming up eventually. I don't know when, but eventually. Here are extra peripherals. The glaive is there for now. That's the Corsair Scimitar. That is a Tech Under 10 mouse that I did not too long ago, and that's the Combat Wing wireless mouse that I did also not too long ago. And these are a couple of keyboards that I just happen to have. This is the guest computer. So when my friends come over, they use this one. That's the Anudes AI Crystal Cube. It is housing the AMD FX8350 processor, clocked to 4.6 or 4.7 gigahertz, I can't remember which, and two GTX 760s in SLI. These are both 1080p panels. One is 21-inch and one is 19-inch. And they're both 60 hertz, so they're nothing special. They're actually both kind of old. And then this is the Logitech G910 Orion Spark keyboard. The 760s seem to push 1080p gaming just fine, so no real need to switch. And then we've got this shelf here. Shelf, I call it a shelf, but really it's just coffee tables stacked on top of coffee tables. That's how I save my space. At the very bottom there are product boxes. Up a level there's some fans and some extra PC screws and then some camera stuff, like that's my teleprompter there. There's a slider, there's some tripod heads, camera bags, and then there's a couple of dead graphics cards over there. Don't freak out, they're not functional, so I just haven't tossed them yet because nostalgia. Then the next level up we have a lot of stuff I use for like basic modding things like transfer paper and adhesive vinyl, acrylic, and some spray paint, measuring tape, duct tape, things like that, soldering iron, all that fun stuff. And then at the very top there's a Corsair 750D case just because I didn't have anywhere else to put it, the AT875R microphone, a few tripods. My video tripod is this big one up here. It's the fancier FT717, I think, and it's not super smooth, but it is smooth enough for me so that I can stabilize it in post and not freak out. And then this is, I dropped boxes over there, don't just ignore that. This is kind of a mess, but there's a reason for that. I just installed Windows on here, and I needed to use a keyboard with a cable, because right now this keyboard would be here normally, but it's Bluetooth, and I didn't have the right drivers installed, so that's not currently hooked up yet. But this is the Tesoro Shure gaming mouse, and that's a white monitor from Asus. I think it's a 21-inch panel, and the reason everything is white is because Autonomous was gracious enough to send me this desk in exchange for an advertisement. I don't know if the advertisement's ever going to make it to my channel. They said they wanted to use it for their own promotional content, and I'm totally okay with that. But basically the desk is for B-roll. So I wanted to set it up with some other matching things to make it look pretty for the ad, but normally nothing would be on top of this desk. So normally the B-roll set looks like this. It looks super corny and super awful right now. But normally you wouldn't be seeing that specifically. It would be something like something like a nice depth of field where you have a wide open aperture and everything far enough becomes blurred out and nice and smooth. So you get like these little bokeh balls, I guess, and the cables completely become like not visible. So that was the kind of effect I was hoping for. I've so far had one person tell me that they weren't too fond of this because it looks too bright like everybody else's videos. But before, I've had other people tell me that all my other videos are too dark. So I'm trying to find the spot that works, I guess. There's also an LED strip on here, so that's fun. And this computer, this is the only case I'm willing to buy twice. This is the 570X, except this one is in white. This is a Newegg exclusive, and from what I've been told, it's not a limited edition run. So if you don't have any money to spend on it now, don't freak out, because it's not... I'm told it's not going anywhere for a while, so that's pretty neat. Let's turn it on. Yeah. So this has a an Intel Xeon processor that my friend sent me for more or less free, or out of the kindness of his heart. All he wanted in exchange was my firstborn child, which is perfectly okay with me, because that basically means I'm allowed up to one accident before I ruin my life. It's the... oh god, that's awful. It's the Xeon E5 2690, I think. And that is cooled by the Be Quiet Dark Rock Pro 3 cooler, and then I've got the GTX 980 Ti Amp Extreme graphics card. The RAM is 16 gigabytes of G-Skill G-Skill Ripjaw's RAM. I don't remember the speed it's running at. It's probably somewhere low because it's... I didn't really overclock this yet, or at all really. And then it's the Corsair AX760 power supply with custom sleeve cables. So those look nice. There are 6 SP RGB fans in here, and the motherboard is the MSI SLI Crate, I think. I can't remember off the top of my head. And then I've got the Hue Plus in white down there because it matches, I guess. That's more or less the only reason. I was going to do an ad for this, and Autonomous was bitterly disappointed in my work because I'm used to shooting in lower light, but because it's an ad, they want it very well lit. And this, like these softboxes are bright enough for what I used to do, but they're not for like professional ads, I guess. So when I sent them my first video, they were like, eh. So I said, alright, no problem. I'll shoot it outside in daylight, which doesn't make any sense because nobody puts their desk outside. But the problem with that is it was raining a lot. So I'm probably going to try to find a way to shoot this indoors while I can, because I know it's supposed to rain for the next few days. But I don't know. I'll see how this goes. Now that I'm here, I might as well show off this dumbass. A lot of people have been asking for my cat. This is one of them. He was locked outside while it was raining, so he's quite moist too. He's probably pretty uncomfortable right now. Aren't you, you fat little shitter? He doesn't have a name as far as I'm aware. Look at him. Okay. So as far as I'm aware, I don't remember his name. It's been lost to time. I've just been calling him Chubby, because that's kind of what he is, if you can tell. This is my other cat, who also wants attention, who's probably not going to like it because my hand's all wet now. Sorry. He is old. This one is roughly 3 years old. This one is 17 or approaching 17. His ears are floppy because he's had an ear infection and he scratched at them and the blood vessels didn't heal right, so now they're all messed up. But he's old. He's a good cat. This one is a needy cat. He's always complaining about something. I'm allergic to both of them, but my mom likes cats more than she likes me, so. This is my closet. There are product boxes in there, and my way of saving space was just to remove the doors and push the bed in. The bed also has the world's ugliest blanket, but it's a blanket, so I never bothered to replace it. Future projects, or upcoming projects rather. I already mentioned a couple of them, like the graphics card reviews and the thermal take fans. But other than that, this is a cute little power supply that FSP sent me. And I don't work with a lot of small form factor stuff, except for my personal effects, I guess we'll call them. Oh god, I hate myself. So this is the power supply. It's super tiny and super adorable. And I'm going to be using it in a relatively small build. Not the smallest build ever, but it's a pretty small build. It's going to be using the Ryzen 1400X. And, well, actually that's in that computer right now. It's currently in the Corsair Spec 04 case. And once I take that apart, it's going to go into this. This is the Inwin 301. And I'm super excited to work in this because I think the case looks like super nice. And it's a tinier case than what I normally work with. So this power supply should be pretty nice. And then after that, I'm going to be working in the Thermaltake Core P3 case. This is the one you guys voted on Twitter. I put up a poll, and you said, do this one. Even though everybody in the messages and comments told me to do the S340 Elite. That one won on Twitter and on the poll, so that's the one I'm going with. And I think the last thing that I actually forgot to mention were the chairs. These chairs are awful. I try not to use these, which is why my friends get them when they come over. And then this is my chair. This is the Autonomous Ergo chair. And it's comfortable. I like it. I have a video review on that. some people have told me that they don't like it. They think it's kind of stiff, which is not really true in my opinion, but I guess it's subjective. Some people like it, some people don't. And that's fine. People have different butts. I'm not going to go butting into their business. But my only problem with this chair after several months of use is this. It's a little squeaky, but it's still comfortable. So it's not like a huge thing to me. But other than that, I think that's all I got. Okay, so that was my first attempt at what I would probably consider to be a pathetic vlog. So if you like this kind of thing, or if you're interested in more spontaneous off-the-cuff stuff, this is more how I'm like as opposed to how I would like to be like, I guess. If you like this kind of thing, let me know. I feel exposed. If not, that's okay. I'll never do it again. No big deal. If you like this kind of thing and the audio needs work, let me know, because it probably doesn't sound that good. So, I'll need to figure out something for that. Otherwise, I think that's all I have to say about that. It was kind of just a quick tour and kind of future plans. So if updates like this are what you're into, then I can totally keep doing this. If you think this should never exist, I can do that too. If you think this belongs on like a second channel, maybe, because I don't know if I have the time to keep up with another channel. But I don't know, I'll see how it goes. I'm gonna be reading feedback and stuff like that. Thanks for watching. My name is Steven, and I am a little dim. Bye bye. Now I am a little dim, although, you know, this camera is not that bad in low light. I'm actually kind of impressed by that, although it's a lot of the monitor, whatever. I'm rambling. Bye bye.